Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.
KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.
This is Talkative Radio, the show where nothing is off limits and no topic is safe. From pop culture chaos and celebrity nonsense to marriage, motherhood, menopause, and everything in between. This is real life, loud, unfiltered, funny, and sharp as hell. Hosted by Allie B, sketch comedy writer, media troublemaker, coffee shop owner, businesswoman, and a woman who does not tiptoe around the truth. You've seen her on TLC, TMZ, and the Gypsy Rose doc-series. Now she's bringing the heat to the mic. No scripts, no safe opinions, no fake smiles. Just real conversations, wild laughs, and the kind of honesty most people are too scared to say out loud. This is Talkative Radio. And now your host, Allie B.
Wake up in the morning, sun hitting the bed, coffee in my hand, let the stress drift away, turn the dial just a little.
Welcome to Talkative Radio. I'm your host, Allie B, and today is dedicated to all of my animal rescue baddies across the United States of America. For every foster parent, every volunteer, every nonprofit founder, every late night bottle feeder, every transport driver, every vet tech running on caffeine and compassion. This one is for you. And it's also dedicated to the animals across this country who are still waiting for safety, waiting for a home, and waiting for someone to see them. We're shining a light on something serious. We have real animal crisis in our country, and we are overcrowded shelters, abandoned pets, unfunded rescues, and communities stretched very thin. We're not here just to talk about the problem. We're here to shine a spotlight on the people that are taking care of the problem. You see how I fumbled on that? Welcome to Thursday, you guys. I'm incredibly honored to have Wendy Hornack in my studio today. We're talking all things animal rescue. We're talking all things animal. She comes from a fantastic foundation, so we're gonna really get into it over the next hour. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm really excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I know. This is so exciting, you guys.
I know.
Okay, everybody knows that I love old people and I love animals more than anything.
What are you trying to say?
I love both. I'm not saying that we're old, but I'm definitely saying that we definitely, I don't know, it's the two things in my life that I think are very important. And so I'm really excited to be able to talk about animals today. And I know that my audience, my target audience, those are things that interest them as well. And of course, I met Wendy at Rotary, and we're going to get all into that. But before we start, as we always do in the beginning of our show, we do a little deep dive on, where is it? Celebrity news. It's our time to find out what's happening in the darn universe. Well, big news this week. Let's see. Biggest golden retriever gathering ever in Golden, Colorado. Over 5,500 golden retrievers and 16,000 people gathered in Golden, Colorado for the annual Goldens in Golden celebration. Dog lovers traveled from 44 U.S. states and several countries, including Taiwan, New Zealand, and Argentina. The event included therapy dog meetups, a canine fashion show, and even a dog mare election, spreading pure joy. I would really love to be able to go to that event someday. Also, this month, I love birds. So if you love birds, you're going to love this story. The Great Backyard Bird Count worldwide is happening this month. Families around the world are participating in the Great Backyard Bird Count, and people are simply observing and counting from their own neighborhoods to help scientists track bird population. Anyone in Hawaii can join. You simply go to birdcount.org and you can basically go to your favorite place to birdwatch, set your timer for 15 minutes, count all the birds that you see, identify the species, and then download that to birdcount.org. That is super interesting. Also in celebrity news this week, actor James Von Der Beek, best known for his role as Dawson Leary on the late 90s hit TV series Dawson's Creek, has passed away at the age 48. According to reports confirmed by Entertainment Weekly and People magazine, Von Der had been battling stage 3 colorectal cancer and diagnosed publicly sharing in 2024. Throughout his illness, he remained open with fans about his journey, often speaking about his faith, fatherhood, and resilience. He's survived by his wife Kimberly and their 6 children. Tributes from former co-stars, fellow actors, and longtime fans have been pouring in across social media, remembering him not just as a teen drama icon, but as a devoted father and thoughtful human being. Our hearts go out to his family this week. Also, headline news, TV host Sherry Shepherd publicly announced her cancellation of her daytime TV show, Sherry, which I honestly thought they should have canceled that long time ago. So sorry, Sherry. This week, in a candid segment reported by Entertainment Weekly, after returning from a brief illness, Shepherd spoke directly to her audience about the network's decision not to renew her show, and she expressed gratitude to her team and all her loyal viewers, emphasizing that while this chapter is closing, she remains optimistic about what is to come. Shepherd, who has built a career spanning comedy, acting, and daytime television, made it clear that to the viewers that this transition is not an ending, but rather a new beginning. So I'm happy for Sherry, whatever she decides to do in her life. Let's get into it. We are so thrilled beyond measure, okay, to have the most amazing person in our audience, in our studio today. Yay for Wendy Hornack. I met Wendy just about a year ago, last July, right? Or maybe it was a year, maybe it was longer than that. I can't tell time anymore. And I met her through Jeff Jermalowski, call him Jermalowski. And I was introduced to her through the Rotary Club. And it's been a great organization to be a part of if you're ever interested in joining a club, which we can get to that. But she is hugely popular in the Rotary department and the Rotary universe here on Maui. And she's always been doing really wonderful things for her community. So having her here to talk about her foundation, she is the founder of Aloha FurEver Pet Foundation. We're so excited that she's here with us today. So let's talk a little bit about your mission statement for your foundation.
Absolutely.
Would you like to read it?
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you. So at Aloha FurEver Pets Foundation, our mission is to compassionately reduce pet overpopulation on Maui by providing accessible, affordable, and humane spay and neuter services for both cats and dogs. Guided by the spirit of Aloha and our kuleana, which means responsibility, we strive to protect the delicate balance of our island home while honoring the profound bond between animals and the Hawaiian people.
Wonderful. I love this. I'm so excited to have you in and to talk about this subject because I know, like myself, a lot of people love animals. And it's interesting because, we're here on Maui and we have a large feral cat population. And I really had never learned too much about feral cats until the last few years when I was living in a neighborhood where a couple people that I knew had been helping the challenges that we're facing as a feral cat community. So let's tap into a little bit of the difference between a feral cat and a stray cat.
Okay. So there's actually over 40,000 what we call feral stray cats on the island.
Wow.
And that's not including the pets, When it comes to feral or stray, the easiest way normally to tell is feral ones you will not ever be able to touch. You will not get near them. They may look cute and adorable, but they do not like human contact. They don't want to be around humans. They just want to survive. A community cat is normally somebody's kind of been taking care of it outside, been feeding it, so it may or may not still want to be touched, but those a lot of times can have some human interaction and can be turned into pets depending on the situation. It's just really hard because after COVID, as you know, a lot of things changed, and then we had our Maui fires.
Right.
And then there's been a lot of housing challenges for pet owners.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of cats that are being dumped, cats that are being taken because they think they're feral, but they're actually somebody's outdoor cat being dumped into other neighborhoods, like across the island. And that is dangerous within itself because cats are like people. You can't just put a cat in with another colony and expect them all to get along. It's just like if you were playing in your yard and someone just picked you up and said, I'm going to move you over to the west side and just dump you there.
I really didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I just felt like, okay, the group of feral cats, if you just take this feral cat, drop them off over there, they'll be good. So they know their town.
They know their area. It's like that's their home. And so you can't just take them and put them in other places. And that's why when you've seen some of these issues where they can't go into certain properties anymore, a lot of these colony caretakers and trappers and stuff slowly will try to gradually move them out by moving their feeding areas a little further along and further along. But it takes a time. It takes a process. And I know there's people out there that are like, I don't want all these cats around here. I'm tired of it. But, the first solution is there's one too many cats. Where are they all going to go?
Right.
So we have to do something. And the first thing is helping to stop that overpopulation.
Right.
So by spay and neutering them, that stops them from reproducing because a kitten can get pregnant as early as 4 months.
I was reading that, and they were saying statistically 2 feral cats can produce over 40,000 litters, not 40,000 litters, but 40,000 kitty cats on their own, just between 2 feral cats. So cat population growth rate, 1 year 16, 3 years 128. Wait, that's 2 years. 3 years, 2,000. 5 years, 12,288. That's incredible. That is absolutely
just by
incredible.
not fixing one cat, because that's how fast it can happen. And that's why there's such an overpopulation here, because I don't want to say nothing's being done. There are efforts now that have come into play. Maui Humane Society is still offering their appointments, but, unfortunately, I know a lot of people struggle to get in because they are trying to meet those needs as well, but they only have so much staffing and time. The Good Cat Network offers a cat appointments once a month over at Heritage Hall, so they're trying to work with the cat population as well. And then our nonprofit is offering cat and dog spay and neuter services to not only meet the cat situation, but there's a lot of dogs out there and a lot of feral and stray and pet dogs that need to be fixed. I mean, I've come across people all the time just trying really hard to get that done, and they just can't, or they can't afford it.
Yeah, I know the cost is what deters people from being able to go and do that.
It can be anywhere from like $400 to $1,200 depending on the age, the animal, the sex, if it's pregnant or already, or, there's so many factors, the health of the animal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many things that you just don't know until you get it in there. And the vets, of course, have all these expenses that they have to cover for their clinics. So some of them can offer lower rates, but they can only go so low.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. I was reading there are 300,000 to 1 million feral cats on Oahu, roughly 50,000 to 500,000 on the Big Island. And Maui, as of 2022, 2023, it was roughly about 40,000. So it's a statewide problem here in the state of Hawaii, but also nationwide.
Right.
And so that's interesting. So now, okay, let's get back to the root of it, because I know Wendy is literally my cat sister when I tell you that I have a room in my house playing classical music for my cats. She has her cat on a leash, okay? And she is just walking around everywhere with her cat, like everywhere she goes. So I already knew that you were a cat lover like myself, but what got you, like, really your wheels turning when it came to this specific problem and why you wanted to create your foundation?
Well, as you said, I am a definite animal lover. I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, which I love very much, and they don't always get along, but for the most part they do. I have a lot of friends that have pets, and obviously know a lot of people that have pets, and unlike some people, I don't have a lot of money, so it's not like I can afford a lot of luxuries.
But doesn't your daughter do a lot of volunteer work?
Correct. She does a lot of volunteer work, and she's also working at the Humane Society right now,
that's
dog
wonderful.
enrichment. Yeah, so with her passion with the dogs, mine with the dogs and cats, as any pet owner, you want to take care of your animal. And so when something comes up, whether it's small or big, and you got to take them to the vet, and you get a $300 to $600 bill, you're just like, oh my gosh, but it's your family. So you're going to do it. You're going to figure it out. But it is stressful. So then you have the other option where you don't do anything, you know, or you try to do it yourself, and you sometimes work or sometimes makes it worse. So I was frustrated, you know, and just like everybody else, you know, where do we go? Who do we go to? So the first place you want to go to is Maui Humane Society, and they're amazing. They do a lot for this community, but they can't do everything.
Right.
You know, everything shouldn't fall on their shoulders, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't know where else to go, and that's the biggest animal kind of care that we have here, that we just expect them to handle it all.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, okay, if Maui Humane Society is struggling to handle it, and, you know, we have other organizations trying, you know, what are our options as pet owners or animal lovers? Like, what can we do?
Right.
So I started researching the problem. How do we fix overpopulation? So first of all, we got to kind of stop the growth, you know. If we can stop the growth at least to a certain point where it's managed, you know, then we can start figuring out where the cats can go. And they have programs right now, I'm probably sure you've seen online, where they are flying cats off island.
Right. I had a girlfriend of mine, Anna. Hey, Anna. She just adopted her cat that was in her like little area, and her son, her husband's son, took it to California. And so they set up the whole thing. Like the Humane Society really helped him and did a really fabulous job. That's going to be another question that we're going to have down the line, because we're going to go to question and answer time. But yeah, I guess it's just like the facts about feral cats and how we get into this situation, right? The population here in Hawaii thrives because of a couple different reasons. One, the warm weather.
Absolutely.
Like we have great weather here. There's not a lot of natural predators here in the state of Hawaii for them. So, you know, I mean, they seem to be living all right. And the abundant amount of food supply, because we do have a lot of very caring people on this island that do go out and feed these colonies of feral cats. Are you familiar with any of those? Or you?
Yeah, there's a few out there. They literally will feed anywhere. You'll see some that feed 5 to 20 cats to literally 500 cats a night. They spend their own money, their own time.
Really?
They go out there every single night and take care of these animals. Some of them, because they're on different properties, sometimes they get threatened, they get this and that. And it's really sad, because they're doing it out of their passion and love and care for the animals. They're not getting paid. They don't work for anybody. And so that's why you'll see them online asking for support for food or things, because it gets expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, just taking care of my own animals is expensive. I couldn't imagine feeding 500 cats.
Yeah,
you know?
gosh. I mean, the last bag of cat food I bought was like $32. I can imagine having to go through that 3 or 4 times a week just for animals that aren't yours. But then it's like, we don't want them to be out there without food. And it's kind of weird to think about people like not wanting you to feed them, because I guess they assume like, well, if they feed them here, they'll stay here. But they're here anyway, and they're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Right? Man, so that's kind of crazy. And then cat reproduction is extremely fast. So 2 to 3 litters per year, 3 to 5 kittens per litter on average. And an unspayed female, like we said, can offspring multiple times a year. The impact on wildlife, right? That's also a big one.
It is a big one, but there's a lot of confusion. People assume that the cats are attacking the birds and that they can't be over there. But honestly, it's not like that. It's just like every situation where you'll have certain instances. Of course, cats will attack their predators, you know. But again, if they're being fed by, you know, they have a meal, a lot of them don't really care to go and attack and do that. So they're not really trying to get out into that community and attack them. There's a lot of studies out there. There's a Hawaii Advocacy Alliance. Sorry, this is hard for me to say. I'm Asian. There's a lot of like little letters there. But they have a lot of great information. Greg works on that, and he has been doing research consistently about the effects with the birds and the ferals and the strays. And there's a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
So it's really important people understand that.
That would be one of the top things that they say online is that many native birds nest on the ground. But I could see once they have an abundant food supply, they're not really hunting and gathering per se. So, you know what I mean? It's sometimes when they're killing a bird, it's just a curiosity of a cat.
You're playing tag. It's your turn. No, I'm just joking.
No natural defenses against mammal predators, so they are at risk of being hurt by whatever else is out there with them.
Yeah, the wild pigs, the mongoose.
They say that they're linked to the decline of native seabirds. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what statistically they say. For those of you who are just tuning in, we have Aloha FurEver her pet foundation, Wendy Hornack, in the studio. We're talking all things animals today, and her wonderful foundation is making a huge impact on the island of Maui. And I'm like, I could not be prouder of a person like Wendy doing something like this. I feel like there's so many people we want to get up and do something and be a part of change, but we never know necessarily how to do that, right? And so it's people like Wendy that show you that if this is something that you're passionate about, you can go out and you can do things that are going to benefit the community and whatever you're seeking to help, right? This specific situation, cats and animals and neutering. So you decided, you were like, okay, listen, there's a need. You know, not all of us can afford this service. What can I do to get my hands involved?
So I started thinking, like you said, how do I make a difference? I mean, it's great to have ideas and it's great to complain, but what can you do about it? And I have an IT background, so I always try to find solutions. So I figured, okay, one of the solutions or one of the problems is resources. We need more staffing. We need more qualified people that can do it. Another one is location. We need some place to do it, you know. And then, of course, you need the funding so you can purchase the microchips, the vaccines, the flea medication, all the little things you need for surgery, everything from gauze to, you know, tape, to things that you don't think about, to the tools, the scissors and everything. And one of the things that I was very grateful for is being a part of Rotary has really grown my network, especially after the fires happened. I realized after being on island 26 years, I know a lot of people. I know, believe it or not, we know a lot of people on Maui, right?
Wendy knows everybody.
So
she knows all the important people.
I started calling around and talking to these people, just saying, hey, you know, I've got this idea. What do you think? And I was very fortunate, first of all, to find some amazing high-end spay-neuter vets and vet techs that are passionate and want to do it. And again, they're looking for that location and just some basic compensation for their time, you know. And then one of the other things I thought, being a business person, is, okay, space. Where can we do it? I can't afford a location right now off the bat, but a lot of vet clinics are closed on the weekends.
Yes.
So why not pay them a little bit of money to rent out their space? The whole thing is right there.
Brilliant
they have
idea.
Everything for you, and you just need to get the extra stuff for a higher end clinic, and then you'll be able to perform it there. So I was lucky enough to work with Kihei Vet Clinic.
Wow.
Dr. Leeper has been amazing. We did our first clinic on January 18th there. We were able to do 122 cats.
Wow.
It was amazing. And we had just a great staff, a great flow. We worked with a bunch of trappers who trapped the cats for us and brought them in. And yeah, so for me, I wanted to give back to the community. Besides just making a difference for the animals, why not help the business owners that also need that money? Because vets struggle here. It's hard for them. But they also know this is a solution that's needed, and they can't give it to the public for the same price. But if they can contribute in some ways, they'd be happy to help. And that's what Dr. Leeper wanted to do, is find a way to give this solution to his to the community. And then that way, when they need other things for wellness or whatever, they'll have the money for that versus not being able to do this.
It does make a huge impact. I would say increasing spay and neutering, what they call the TNR, significantly reduces the feral population over time, takes pressure off of all the other organizations, helps obviously reduce native bird and other animal injuries and the spread of disease, also making it easier for the shelters to actually reduce their prices, right? So the more that we're so overwhelmed with our system that it's become an unaffordable thing. But could you imagine if we all got together to support these foundations like Wendy's, what an impact that we could have in our communities, no matter where you live, even if you don't live here on the island of Maui.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that's really important. So you were like, okay, let me boots on the ground.
Yep. So I talked to all the people that I felt needed to be involved. They all said, let's do it. And we did. We got funding. We were very fortunate to get funding through some partners here with the Maui Cat Cafe, Hope for Paws, and Kitty Charm Farm. So they were able to help us out with our first clinic. We had great doctors, Dr. Lisa Lebrecht, Dr. Kim Thompson Kerr. These are high-end spay and neuter vets that work really hard. They're fast. I mean, when I say high-end, vets can do the job and they're fine with it, but they're not trying to do it fast. You know, they're not trying to, you know, quickly do a cat. Like a high-end spay neuter vet could literally do 50 to 75 cats a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas a normal vet may do 2, maybe 1, you know, because they're not really in that type of field. So to have them be able to do that many cats in a day is huge.
That is a huge impact.
Just imagine if you get enough of those high-end vets to be able to do this. So we know they're not all on Maui, which is one of the problems, but they are on other islands as well. And we've been working with the vets on Big Island and Oahu that are willing to fly over for these clinics. And we're trying to partner with like Maui Humane and Good Cat so that if a vet comes over and they want to do more than one clinic, they can also work in their clinics as well, so they get the best, you know, for their time, and we get more resources here on Maui.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. 75 cats at a time versus 2 cats. So that could actually make a huge impact on your small community in like a span of just a couple months. Mm-hmm. That's huge.
Yeah,
that really is. And then do you plan on like expanding to any of the outer islands, or I mean, obviously we're here on Maui. It's a small community. I mean, we're surrounded by water, so that might be kind of hard to do.
Well, our plan right now is we're working in Kihei. We're also trying to set up clinics on the west side. We're working with the West YMCA to do clinics at that location as well. Mm-hmm. And then if things continue to go well, we would like to offer clinics in Hana. And then when we did our mission statement, we did it for Maui County because we didn't want to just focus on Maui, because we know that Molokai and Lanai, they all need help as well. There is a program going up in Molokai, but it's going to need a lot of help and support. Mm-hmm. So if we are able to help the other islands, we are more than happy to go out there and help them as well.
Wow, that's wonderful. I just love all of this stuff. Okay, you guys, if you're just tuning in, we have Wendy Hornack from Aloha FurEver Pet Foundation. We're talking all things animals. We're going to get ready to take just a quick little break, but when we come back, we're going to get more into the conversation. We're going to answer your questions. Thank you for being locked into 88.5 FM radio, the voice of Maui. I'm your host, Allie B. You're tuned into Talkative Radio, and we will be right back.
Morning, sun hitting the bay, coffee in my hand, let the stress drift away, turn the dial just a little to the left or right, that familiar voice make the whole day bright. They talk of life, what's trending today.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Oldies Time Machine with great musical memories to take you back.
I'm gonna build a time machine so I can go back and make the scene. I'm gonna make some time with my Egyptian queen in my little old time machine.
Well, you are listening to KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.
Due to weather complications, today's Lahaina commercial permitting workshop was rescheduled to next Wednesday, the 18th. The workshop will be held from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Maui Arts and Cultural Center's Morgado Hall in Kahului. For more information on the workshop, visit mauirecovers.org.
Hi, I'm Chuck Sauce, host of Biscuits and Gravy. KAKU is a listener-supported station. This means that all of the great programs you hear, like mine, are supported by you as well as our underwriters. If you would like to help keep the voice of Maui talking loud and clear, go to kakufm.org/donate today and give. Don't miss the Biscuits and Gravy Show Wednesdays at 11 a.m. 88.5 KAKU.
You're locked into 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. I am your host. You're listening to Talkative Radio, where we stay bold, we stay curious, and most importantly, we stay talkative. You are listening to my favorite cat melody, Mama Cat Song, and you can find that on YouTube if you're very interested and you want to listen to this type of music. We are passionately talking about spaying and neutering and all things animals here on the Talkative Radio. Today we have Wendy Hornack in the studio. We're thrilled to have her. She's a beacon of information for both animals and also Maui Rotary. If you're interested in becoming a Maui Rotarian, you can give Wendy a call and I'll give you all of her links at the end of the show. So let's get back into it. We were deep diving into animals and spaying and neutering and how and why this is very important to whatever community you're in. Of course, we're based here on the island of Maui, but no matter where you are in the country, these are things that are attainable for your communities to put together. Wendy's done it. She's making a huge impact on our state, on our island, and so I think it's a very important topic that we should talk about. And let's be honest, animal cruelty, it's not just a singular thing that's just happening here or there. I looked up some of the worst animal cruelty states in 2025-2026 reports, North Dakota being the worst state for animal cruelty, followed up by Alabama, Idaho, Kentucky, and Mississippi. And a lot of the issues for animal cruelty in those different states is because of the lack of felony penalties when it comes to animal cruelty. So how can we change that wherever we're at? Well, number one, we need to get them to pass laws, right? We need better laws. You need to fight if you're, no matter what state you're in, it's attainable to go to your state legislators and see if they might be able to come up with some new laws for your particular state. States with the lowest number of animal rescues in our country, Wyoming is top for lowest, Montana, and then North Dakota, obviously. Interesting, North Dakota is the worst for animal cruelty and also has the least amount of animal rescues. So if you're in that part of the country, it is a good idea if you're passionate about animals to maybe consider how you can volunteer or how you can get involved, how you can start a rescue. There are so many great rescues across the country, which we'll get into the top 5 animal foundations and rescues in our country. But let's get to some questions because we had a lot of people wanted to know questions for Wendy. So Sarah in Kihei, what made you start Aloha FurEver Pet Foundation? Was there a specific animal or moment that changed everything for you?
It wasn't a specific animal. It was just all of my animals. Whenever I wanted to get like my dog spay and neutered, I couldn't. I kept trying to book at the Maui Humane Society. It would fill up within 5 minutes that they'd release the calendar, and then I'd wait the next month, and then I finally would okay, let me call the vet, and then I get the estimate from the vet, and I was like, oh man, I just can't afford $500, $600, $700 right now. I'll do it next month. And then I was, whining like we do when we're at the dog park or hanging out with people, like, oh man, and everybody was feeling the same way, and nobody was providing a solution. Right. So I'm like, I could sit here and complain till I'm blue in the face, or maybe I could find a solution, whether I create one or there's one out there that people don't know about, and let people know about it.
I love that. Wendy's such a go-getter too. When she wants to get something done, she gets it done. And you have always been a very community person, but now you're touching every part of your community. So I'm very proud of you for that. Thank you. Okay, so Jason and Wailuku asked, people see stray cats everywhere on Maui. How big is the actual problem here, and are we talking hundreds or thousands? Well, we already told you, Jason and Wailuku, it's like 40,000 cats per 2 cats. This is a population problem that's everywhere. It's all over Maui. If you've been to Maui, you go to Iao Valley. There was a ton of them up there, South Kihei, Wailuku, and it's these wonderful, passionate people around our community that are taking care of these animals.
But if you see a cat with an ear tip, it looks like the little tip of their ear is missing, I think it's normally on the left side, then that means that cat has been fixed.
Yes.
And that's really important for these stray and feral cats.
That's
because
a good thing
when the trappers are out there looking, they're looking for cats with full ears to trap to bring in for spay neuter. And that's important as well, because sometimes they trap pets. because sometimes a pet is out there. And so they always get the microchip scan before anything happens. In fact, at our last clinic, we trapped a pet. When I called the owner, she's like, he always takes his collar off and roams. And I'm like, well, he got an adventure today. So he's coming home. Nothing happened to him, thankfully, because we were able to scan a microchip and find him. But because he had the 2 pointy ears and he was out with the other cats, they trapped him.
My cat that I have right now was a feral kitten when I got her, and she does have a clipped ear now. So, but that's also good for you to listen to, or for you to know at home. If you see a clipped ear, you know, okay, that cat has been serviced or maintained or chipped. Someone is watching that cat along the line. Okay, Leilani and Lahaina, what happens to the animals after they're spayed and neutered? Do they get adopted? Are they released back to the wild? Can you adopt a cat after it's been spayed and neutered and clipped?
There's different situations. A lot of times they do what's called the TNR, trap, neuter, release, because, again, you know, a lot of these people who are trapping, they're not their cats. They're out there stray and feral cats, so they just want to get them fixed to help the animal population. So they will get put back to where they were picked up from. Sometimes they have cats that are trapped that are super friendly, like super friendly, because they spend a little time with them because they have to. They don't just release them as soon as the surgery's done. A lot of these trappers will keep them for a day to make sure everything's okay before they release them. So some cats are really super friendly, and they find some that are really super friendly. They may reach out to people and say, hey, I've got this kitten here, and I, you know, it's an outdoor, you know, stray cat, but I really think it could be rehomed or something. It's all fixed. It's got its microchip. It's got its vaccines and flea. Is there anyone that wants it? So sometimes they can do that as well. Sometimes these cats, again, if they're friendly, can get flown off island. But most of the cats that get flown off island have to be spayed or neutered before the shelters on the mainland will take them too. So there's people out here that actually have foster kittens that they've been fostering, but they can't get off the island because they need to get them spayed and neutered.
Shucks. That was going to be one of the questions that I knew that someone had in here was that. Also, how easy is it to get a cat off the island? Well, now we just talked about it is a lot easier than it used to be because of these programs. Grandma Judy in Kahului, I feed a few neighborhood cats because I feel bad for them. Am I helping or making the problem worse?
You're helping by feeding them, but you could help more if we get them spayed and neutered. Because the problem is if you're just feeding, let's say, 5 cats right now, and they're happy, well, they're going to reproduce. So those 5 cats could turn into 20 to 40 to whatever.
And then Grandma Judy has a big problem.
And then Grandma Judy is not going to be very happy about feeding so many cats. But if she doesn't know how to trap herself, there's a lot of organizations out there that will either teach you or come out and do it for you, depending on where you're located. And they will go get them fixed for you and bring them back.
I did notice that too. If you take a feral cat from wherever you're at and they do get fixed, they typically drop that cat back off in that same location. So, I mean, it's kind of like, it kind of is what it is, right? Let's see, Tiana and Paia, what exactly is TNR stand for? I heard the term a lot. Can you please simply explain?
I'm going to look it up to make sure I'm not saying it wrong, but I believe it's the trap, neuter, and release.
Trap, neuter, release.
Yes.
Trap, neuter, release.
Return. Sorry, trap, neuter, return.
Trap, neuter, return. So
not
that
release, it's return. That's why you see them going back to the place. So they trap them, they get them fixed, and then they return them.
That's good to know. So TNR. Okay, Tiana. Mike in South Maui. Some people say we should just remove all feral cats because they affect wildlife. How do you respond to that?
You know, all humans affect wildlife too.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So, I mean, all wildlife is always going to be affected when there's a population of any other species.
A cat is a wildlife, too. A feral cat is wildlife, technically.
There are obviously cases and studies out there that will show cats that have, you know, attacked or whatever, like we were talking about earlier with the birds, but it's really not that. It's not the cats that are really attacking all of our birds and making it happen. There's the wild boars, there's the mongoose, there's a lot of different animals out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors to there. Don't just blame our little kitty cats over because I love cats so much and I love all the feral cats, and even if they don't let me touch them, I still love them a lot.
So what they do in Lanai is like they work with the DLNR. And so if they have cats like in the bird sanctuary areas and stuff like that, they can take them to the Lanai Cat Sanctuary as long as they're not too feral, and get them taken care of or move them to another home. We don't quite have that option here on Maui yet because there's just so many cats. If you opened up a cat sanctuary today, you'd be full by end of day. You wouldn't be able to afford it. You wouldn't have enough staffing, food, the whole thing. It's just there's too many. So the first step is to help them stop reproducing. Then hopefully we can start finding homes, finding better solutions, and having more pet-friendly housing so more people can keep their animals.
That is another big topic of the day, is housing that allows pets. I know in South Maui, there's only been historically like 2 condominium complexes in South Maui that accepted pets, right? And the majority of people that are moving here don't necessarily have like a family house that they could be at, but there's not a lot of rental places that allow pets, and then even landlords. So if you're a caring landlord, let your tenants have pets and animals and adopt animals as long as they obviously follow house rules.
And pet owners usually, and I can't speak for all, just like we can't speak for all moms and dads, but pet owners are usually really good about taking care of their animals.
Yeah.
And especially if they can find a home that allows them to have an animal, they usually go above and beyond. And there's also ways that we can help, like the landlords and the property owners, by education. I mean, yes, a cat may pee, and I love cats, but I cannot stand cat pee. It's the worst smell in the world, okay? And it just like gets up in your nose, and you're like, so I totally get it. I don't like it either. Dogs, they have smells, they do stuff, but there's things that you can do to help prevent it, or to clean it up, or to make it so that the next person that lives there will never know you had a pet.
Right.
So if we could educate the pet owners that are living there, and then possibly the landlords and property managers on, hey, at least try these XYZ items, maybe we could all be happy together.
Yeah, that's true. And then, we could talk hours about kitty litter.
I don't even want to go there.
I am a kitty litter connoisseur.
Well, my dog thinks it's kitty roca, so I swear to God, it's so disgusting.
But the things that we do for our little animals. Meow,
Yes,
meow.
yes.
Okay, anonymous listener, if I trap a feral cat, what's the right step? What's the next right step? I don't want to do something wrong.
So if you trap a feral cat, well, first of all, if you're trapping it, for what reason? Like if you're trapping it to get fixed, then you don't want to trap it too soon, because you want to make sure that you have some place to put it. Otherwise, you're going to be feeding this cat in a trap for X amount of days.
Yeah, don't trap it at like 6 at night.
Won't be happy.
Yeah.
Maui Humane Society does offer appointments early in the morning for community cats. They have slots and stuff set up you can sign for. Good Cat Network is offering it once a month, and we are also offering clinics. So if you look at the schedule, sign up and make sure you have a slot, then you want to probably trap the cat either a day or 2 before, depending on location, weather, so forth, because you have to remember that cat's going to be in that trap. It can't eat before surgery, and then after surgery, you need to make sure it heals, and then it can eat, and then you got to release it. So that's a lot of stress on a kitty that was just roaming around doing its own thing, and next thing you know, it's in its cage. You know,
that's scary.
So so doing the right thing is making sure, like, why are you trapping the cat? Are you trapping it to move it? Are you trapping it to get it fixed? Are you trapping it to maybe take care of it? And if it is a feral cat, be careful. They do have diseases. Yeah. They do have all those things, and they don't want people touching them, so they will scratch you. They will bite you because they're afraid. I'm
scratched right now for my cat scratched me last night in 2 places, and I had to trim her nails. So
it's like a box cut. It's the worst.
I know, it really was. I was like, I had to wear a Band-Aid all day on my finger. I'm like, oh, okay, it's healing pretty good. Because I'm a cat mom. I naturally heal when I get a cat scratch. Okay, Rachel and Kihei, are stray dogs as big of a problem as feral cats?
Honestly, I used to, in my personal opinion, say no. They're not as big of a problem. We don't have 40,000 dogs here on Maui. But there have been a lot more strays. I mean, right now, the Maui Humane Society is over capacity. Literally, I heard it on the radio as I was driving here. They keep finding stray dogs, and nobody's claiming them. So where are these dogs? They literally had, I want to say, a couple weeks ago, 9 or 10 dogs in there. They're all strays that have been posted out there, and nobody's claiming them. They just found a box of puppies, of like 6 puppies on the side of the road, because somebody's dog had puppies.
What the heck?
And, I mean, They're almost all adopted now, but still, it's just things like that. So the dogs are still a problem out there.
I don't want to say like what side, but I do know, like especially in East Maui, like out in Hana, where sometimes they just let the animal go and they're just like, what can we do?
Or sometimes people move. I've seen stories of people moving and just leaving their animal in the yard, and then a neighbor realizes, hey, why is that animal still there? I mean, there's a lot of sad stories.
I know. Another state I wanted to emphasize, because my very bestie is I have two very besties in the world, but my Fancy Nancy, she would tell you all day long Texas is one of the worst states for animal cruelty, and they have a lack of everything in that state. So Texas is getting a thumbs down from us today. Brandon and Makawa wanted to know, what should someone do if they find a stray dog wandering in the neighborhood? Well, obviously call the Humane Society.
Always reach out to the Maui Humane Society. Their animal enforcement, they are very, very good about going and helping you and getting the animals. If you can post it on social media, there's a lot of avid people out there that'll share your post or say, oh, I know that dog, or I've seen that dog before.
Yeah, there's a Maui Pet Lost and Found.
There's a few of them out there,
some great groups. Danny and Wailea, how much does it actually cost to spay and neuter one animal?
Okay, that's a good question. It actually costs around easily close to over $100, because you have to remember you're paying for the vet. You have all the medicines that you're putting in, which is like the microchip, the vaccines, the flea medicine. Then, of course, the surgery and the location and everything. So it gets pretty expensive.
That is expensive. Ouch. Let's see. Local business owner. If someone donates $100, what does that realistically fund? I mean, is that going to make a difference? If you're at home and you want to put some money in the pot,
absolutely.
What we talking?
Right. Well, our spay and neuter clinics, I mean, they range in pricing depending. Some can be lower, some can be higher. What we found is because we rather pay for certain staffing, and we still have volunteers, but we feel on the medical side it's important to have certain quality staffing. So our staffing's a little high. So a clinic can run around $8,000.
Wow.
But like I said, our last clinic we did 122 cats. Realistically, with dogs, it'd be closer to 50 to 75, because dogs are a lot more invasive and a lot more work, and they're bigger, and it's not as easy to move around like cats. So what would $100 do? Well, $100 would do a lot. It doesn't sound like it, but $100 could buy microchips. It could buy vaccines. It could buy the flea medication. It could help pay for the supplies needed for the surgeries. It could help pay for the staffing. So even though it doesn't seem like a lot, all those little bits add up.
Every dollar counts,
Absolutely,
guys.
and it allows us to be able to do this service.
Right, and we're going to give you all that information at the end of the show. So local business owner, if you want to go ahead and
we do have a sponsor clinic with local businesses. If a actual business wants to half, partially, or fully sponsor an entire clinic for that month, then we will do total public relations, press releases, put their name out there. We'll give them all the credit for that clinic, and we will promote them and let the community know that they help make this happen.
I love that. So if you can do your part no matter where you're at, donate. If you don't have time to donate your time, donate with some monetary funds. College student in Wailuku, I can't donate money right now. How can I still help?
You can help by volunteering at these clinics, and I've had people come in that have never been to a spay-neuter clinic before, and they didn't know what to do, but there's everything to do, from paperwork to running the cats or the dogs in between the vets, to putting them into their traps or to their carriers, to greeting, checking out an animal, checking in an animal. There's all different areas that you can help in, just being an animal lover. If you can't physically help or you can't help monetarily, get the word out. Let people know. Either go to our website, this is how you can volunteer, this is how you can donate, this is how you can just tell people that we have it. If you have a friend or neighbor that's been complaining, let them know that it's out there, because we want more people to be able to have access to this.
That's wonderful. Yeah, if you don't have time, use your contacts. Let people know in your life that you think might be able to help. Let's see. Some people say nonprofits get a lot of money but doesn't show where it goes. How transparent is your organization? That is like, seriously, if you know Wendy, like, that's not even a question. We're skipping over you, anonymous. And why would you put your name on a question like that?
Oh, we're very transparent. We have no problem showing you because
this
I
isn't
ain't
the
getting
mainland
paid.
either, you know? Yeah. Right. This isn't
So
the
I'll
mainland.
show you where the money's going because it ain't going to me.
Kevin and Kihei said, why not focus on enforcement of irresponsible pet owners instead of just fixing animals?
Well, like I said, there's a lot of different layers to this, you know, and that is important too. The problem is there are actual animal laws in our county, but they're really hard to enforce. Like, did you know that you're not supposed to have a dog in the back of the truck that's not leashed? How many dogs do you see?
I actually know that because I had a friend who her dog lost a leg trying to jump out.
Right, but you barely see a cop pulling somebody over for that, right?
That's true.
So there's a lot of laws that are out there, but they're just not being enforced because our cops are already overwhelmed with quote unquote more important things.
Right.
So they're really not going to chase you down for that. But they do have some laws out there for animal cruelty, backyard breeding, you know, all these things, but nobody's enforcing them, and that's part of the problem.
So if you're a police officer listening to this broadcast today, do your part. I mean, I know no one wants to get in trouble, but I mean, don't put your dog in the back of the truck because, like I said, I did know someone who her dog tried to jump out and was attached to the leash. It was like a whole thing.
Yep.
It was terrible. Let's see. My kids want to rescue every kitten they see. How do I teach compassion without creating chaos? Ooh.
That's a good
We
one.
could spend a whole hour, honey. We could spend a whole hour over here talking to you about how we can give your, you know, I don't take your kids to the Humane Society, let them play. I did that a lot with my kids when they were little. It doesn't cost anything to go to the Humane Society and just hang out in the cat house.
And they love the attention.
They do.
And the cats need that kind of, that just being able to socialize that way. It's good for kids to get familiar with an animal before you get one.
I was going to say, I wonder what the youngest age is for volunteer programs at the Humane Society. I'm sure it's like 12 or something.
Well, they have like, you can do it younger. I think you have to have an adult with you, but there's also programs like through the schools and like Boys and Girls Club and YMCA. Sometimes they'll go out there and do stuff. So there are ways that you can do it, and I think you can be pretty young, but you have to have an adult with you, and then obviously it depends on what they're going to give you to do.
That's a good one. How was the wild? Okay, let's see. No, we already know that one. We're skipping her. Sorry, longtime resident. Are there any certain areas of Maui that are struggling more than others?
Well, obviously Hana. Hana is huge because they're very remote.
Yeah.
And the west side, because they don't really have anything on the west side anymore. And so whenever there are clinics available, they have to drive their animals all the way to central or up country to get it done. So that's why we're really excited to do some clinics on the west side. We have a couple of dates coming up.
That's wonderful. Well, okay, so let's talk about now I looked up the 5 national animal welfare organizations and the top 5 animal rescue sanctuaries over the country, but then I did a bit of a deeper dive. So if you want to check out Donor Box blog, they did a great 14 best charities to support when it comes to animals in 2026. I listed the top 5, starting at number 5, Best Friends Animal Society. Their mission is to bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets. Number 4 is Hurricanes Heroes. Their mission is providing retired law enforcement and military dogs with subsidized veterinary care so they can live a long, healthy life that they deserve. I love that. If you have time or money to donate to them. Number 3, For the Love of Alex Inc. Their mission is to provide emergency funding for life-saving veterinary care for low-income families. Fantastic. Number 2 is Happy Doggo. Their mission is to solve the street dog problem worldwide. While sterilizing is the best way to do that, we also help street dogs in Korea and other parts of Asia. And the number 1 animal support that you could that you could support just based on this list is Happy Ever Esther Family Sanctuary Farm Sanctuary. Their mission is to educate worldwide the time of nature framed animals. Okay, so this is like a farm animal sanctuary that provides a safe, happy place for retired farm animals to live. Of course, the national top welfare organizations for animals are Best Friends Animal Society, ASPCA. Everybody is very familiar with that. Humane Society of the United States, American Humane Society, and the Animal Humane Society. How can our viewers get involved with your foundation? How do we find you?
Okay, so you can go to our website, which is www.aloha FurEver, which is FUREVER, petsfoundation.org. We also have a Facebook page, facebook.com, Aloha FurEver, again, FUREVER, pets. You can find us there. On our website, you'll find places to donate. You'll find places to volunteer. You'll also see some of the things that we've done, because we have our clinics, but we're also trying to create more awareness. So during the holidays, we did a holiday photo shoot with dogs and cats. We had Santa and the Grinch there. That was pretty exciting. This Saturday, we're going to be at the Maui Ocean Center with part of the Pacific Whale Week thing going on.
Right.
So we're going to have a booth over there. So we are going to have 2 cute doggies in a kissing booth. So we really think you need to come by and get some doggy kisses from 10 to 2 at the Maui Ocean Center. And there's going to be a kids scavenger hunt and plenty of other things. And we'll also be able to talk to you more about our organization, other ones that we're partnering with and working on. Because one of the things you mentioned in the top 5 was helping with veterinary services.
Yeah.
There is an organization here on Maui called EACH, Emergency Animal Care and Help, and that's what they do. They help supplement low-income families for the difference for the vet bills so that they can have these life-saving procedures. One of the things that a lot of the vets require is that the animal has to be spayed or neutered. So again, back to the root. Yeah.
And what would you say are your top 3 animal rescues here on the island that you know of?
Well, obviously, shout out to Maui Humane. They do a lot. They consistently are helping in a lot of different ways. Kitty Charm Farm is another amazing place. Sarah.
If that's a newer place?
No, she's been here for a while. She does so much with the animals and amazing with the cats. And they also have Surf Cat Ranch Upcountry, which is like a cat sanctuary. They help getting the cats, fostered and flown out. There's the Maui Cat Cafe in the Ka'umanu Center.
That one's a fun one if you have time to take your kids to. The Cat Cafe, you can go there and just hang out and spend time with kitty cats. Let's talk a little bit at the end of our, we're wrapping up the show for those of you who have just barely tuning in at the end of the show.
You missed all the good stuff.
You've missed all the good stuff. But Wendy is also a big part of Kihei Wailea Rotary Club, and I wanted you to tell people how they can get involved with Rotary.
Absolutely. So on Maui, we have 9 Rotary clubs, 3 on the west side, and the other 5 are centrally and upcountry. So we used to be what's called a satellite club, which is part of Kihei Wailea, which is just a smaller club that didn't have enough members that needed to grow. And fortunately, with their support and mentorship and guidance, we were able to evolve into a full Rotary club. We are now the Maluhia Maui Rotary Club, and we meet the first 3 Tuesdays at 5:30 Pauhana, South Maui Gardens. Thanks to wonderful Allison. We love it. I get nervous sometimes because it's an outdoor venue, and Kihei, we never rain, but every once in a while we get it. So I'm always thinking, okay, what if it rains? But I swear, I don't know what it is. It must be the alley love, because every time our meeting comes, there's no rain, and it's like the most beautiful night out in South Maui Gardens.
It's the Peace Pole, Wendy.
It must be the Peace Pole.
It has to be the Peace Pole.
So if you're interested in Rotary or want to know more, you can go to our website, maluhiamauirotary.org, or email us at maluhiamauirotary@gmail.com. I can let you know about our meetings. They're all listed on there, and we can also let you know about other Rotary clubs in your area.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well, I really appreciate you coming into the studio today and talking with us about this topic. It's very true to my heart too, and I wish you all the best of luck. And if you would like to get involved, I'm going to go ahead and put everything on the website, which website should be done this weekend. We encourage you to continue listening. Next week, we're going to have Daniel. He is a dog trainer, and so that's going to be, we're going to just continue our animal love here at Talkative Radio. Don't forget to stay bold, stay talkative, stay curious, and just continue to do your part in your communities. If you have time and energy, get involved, help animals, do your best. Thank you to KAKU 88.5 FM Radio, the voice of Maui. I'm your host, Ali B, and I will see you next Thursday at 3 p.m.
Turn up the top when I want it all. When I want it all. Turn up the top. And when I want it all, I turn up the top. Turn up the top.
The University of Hawaii Maui College is hosting the second of 3 free online cybersecurity clinics for Hawaii's sole proprietors and small business owners. Security using AI is the topic, and this session is taking place on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, from 12 to 1 p.m. via Zoom.
The sound of Maui, KAKU 88.5 FM.
You are listening to Love Jam.
Maui is offering a free multi-week bereavement class, The Art of Transforming Grief, to support people navigating loss through guided reflection and group discussion. The class runs February 19th through March 28th, with sessions on Thursday evenings and some Saturday mornings at Hospice Maui in Wailuku. Pre-registration is required by calling 808-244-5555 or emailing sparling@hospicemaui.org.
We are the boy band. Your tween made you see. We are the boy. It's painful concert number 3. We are the boy band. We're 5 and 19. We are the boy band. Always singing on key.
You love your kids enough to take them to see their favorite band. Love them enough to make sure they're buckled up in the back seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The sound of Maui, KAKU 88.5 FM.
You are listening to Love Jams on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui.